Hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of Hash It Out. My name is Justin Moorhead. I'm here, as always, with my good buddy Mitch Evans, and we're here to talk about the sermon from this Sunday. If you've not already had an opportunity to listen to it, we would first of all encourage you to do that. We've made that available to you through a link in the video description for this video. So if you haven't listened to it, if you weren't here at church yesterday, please click that, listen to it. It'll help make this conversation make more sense. We don't really plan to retrace every step or everything that was said in the sermon, but really to use the sermon as a jumping point to some further discussion. So we can talk a little bit about implications, applications for life, those sorts of things. So this week, the passage that we're going to be discussing is Psalm 130. Psalm 130, and I preached this Sunday, so I'm going to be turning it over to Mitch to facilitate our discussion. So yes, sir. Why don't you take it from there?
Yeah. Psalm 130 is a short psalm, so you might even be able to pause this, pull it up on your phone there. Out of that psalm, there's a couple ideas that I think were really helpful, maybe even as a corrective for the way Christians might think about things. One is this phrase when he says, "Let your ears be attentive to the voice of my pleas for mercy." So he's willing to ask for mercy. I think a lot of times Christians have a tendency to critique that thought. Mm-hmm. The critique usually goes something like this. Somebody, a little kid has stolen a candy bar from a gas station. Maybe a middle schooler stole a candy bar. It becomes a big event. You've caught them. They're crying. You're going to make them go back in and return the candy bar and apologize. You threaten them with police or whatever else goes along with that. But then there's some point in which they do seem real brokenhearted, but you ask them, are you more sorry that you got caught and there are consequences, or are you sorry for what you've done, right? Is this more a self-centered sorry that I just am now facing consequences, or I'm actually bothered that I wronged somebody else?
Yeah.
So I'd say the same is true with God. Are we more concerned for consequences, or are we sorry that we wronged God? I think we actually emphasize sorry that we wronged God to the point at times that asking to get off the hook here seems odd. How do you hold both of those? I mean, practically, how do you hold both?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would say is recognizing the tendency one way or the other. I mean, because it is asking, like you said, it's asking to not have the consequences. So asking God to not give you what you deserve is the heart of this plea. I don't want to get what I deserve. But at the same time, to think, is it because I love God and I don't want to go against him, or is it really just pain aversion and like if I could do it again and do it better and not get caught somehow, I would just do that. So I think to see the real thing well and the tendency well, the way that first comes to mind that I would say you would do well in the direction of really wanting, feeling bad for what you've done against God is remembering who he is, thinking about him as your Father in heaven. And this idea that comes up in the passage about the fear of God, I think that a lot is imported into that idea of recognizing him as a real authority, somebody who is in the position to give consequence, to give condemnation, to not show mercy. He's rightly in that position as God. But at the same time, there's a tenderness there, there's a trust there, there's a recognizing that this is the creator, my God in heaven, who gives me every good thing that I have. And so I think meditating on those things and recognizing that who God is would help put us in a position of not just wanting to get away with something, but really feeling bad about having offended him in the first place.
Okay, so the latter part is what I'm curious about. Not having offended, right before that, you said not wanting to get away with something.
Sure.
This, to me, reads like he is wanting to get away with something.
Right.
Like, let your ears be attentive to the voice of my pleas for mercy. So I think if you pleas for mercy, if I put it more in an adult context, you have someone deliberately misrepresented their information on their taxes.
Right.
Wife calls, hey, we got a big letter in the mail. It sounds like we're going to have to be paying back a bunch of taxes. They're even considering taking us to court. So at that point,
Yeah.
See which way you would go. Would you say, okay, I need to just own up to everything I've done, take my lumps, recognize that I'm going to have to pay for what I've done, or pray and say, God, I have messed up, but please get me off the hook. I really need mercy.
Yeah.
So which one is the right route?
Well, I think the psalm would say asking for mercy is the right route.
Okay.
So that it is good and right, especially because there's an acknowledgement of wrong. I mean, hopefully that's not disingenuine. It's genuinely acknowledging wrong. So I think if you go before your Father and you say, I've really messed up, and I understand that I've messed up, but I really don't want to have to go through this. I really want you to show me mercy. I think that honors him in a unique way. It's recognizing his right not to show you mercy, but also his character and his willingness to. And as a child of God, I think that it's an appropriate thing to do, to ask for mercy. And it also demonstrates an awful lot of trust because you're putting it in his hands. You're asking God. You're not demanding it. You have to show me mercy. Like, I deserve mercy. You're saying, God, I trust you, but please show me mercy, So I think the whole thing is appropriately reverent, if that would make sense. It's not demanding something of God.
Yeah. I think so. I think that's the challenge, though, is to hold both.
Oh, gosh, yes, absolutely.
I think with the IRS thing, you think, on the one hand, wouldn't it be better just to say, I'm going to confess to God and confess to the IRS everything I've done. It's time for me just to come clean, and I'm just going to take what may happen to me, just accept it as my fair and just punishment, because I'm sorry that I have misrepresented Christianity in this way. I think that makes a lot of sense to Christians. Then to say, I'm sorry I've misrepresented Christianity in this way, but I don't actually want to take everything that comes to me. I would love mercy, and I would love to not have to pay the full penalty. And I think that is challenging to our sensibilities. To want mercy and to think I've really done wrong.
Yeah, I do think that challenges sensibilities. The thing I just thought, though, that I could imagine this would happen in the IRS scenario. So, like, you messed up with the IRS, and you're like, I got to come clean, I got to do the right thing. And so then you do all the right things, and you do pray for mercy. You do tell God, God, I really just, if you can make this go away. Like, I just don't want to have to go walk this road of consequence or whatever. And then you keep going through the process, and then a couple weeks, like, you get some sort of a letter that was like, well, there's a technicality, and yeah, you did lie on this thing, but it was after you'd already submitted this one form, so it kind of is null and void, and you don't have to get out of it. To not immediately attribute that to God and think that was mercy. Like, somehow there was some technical loophole that I was unaware of, and I did end up not having to take that consequence, but to really quickly not attribute it to the mercy of God, but attribute it to a fluke or good luck or whatever.
Yeah, would be wrong.
Oh, that would be wrong. Immediately you think, well, God was
showed me mercy.
Really showed me mercy there.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right, if God, on the other hand, we confess something, he forgives us of our wrongs. Should we have a horizontal component, though? Like, should we try to make things right with the IRS? Or if we jump to maybe a different scenario, you borrowed somebody's car, you were backing up and scratched the bumper, but you just returned it to them hoping they wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
A week goes by, you just feel awful about it. You say, God, please forgive me for that. Should you go back and offer to make amends on their car, or do you not say anything about it? Just say, well, God forgave me and that's enough?
No, I think that you should try. I think you should try to make it right if you can. But as an expression of kind of faithfulness and obedience in response to the forgiveness of God, I think would be how I would try to see it play out, right? So you've done this thing, you in hindsight feel bad and rightly go to the Lord with it, ask for forgiveness, trusting that you do have that forgiveness through faith in Christ. But then to think, well, as this passage says, that this forgiveness is going to lead to the fear of God, and that there's going to be this hoping in his word and waiting on him, and that is going to characterize the forgiven person. So I think a lot of what that's going to look like is, how should you be towards somebody else? Should you go try to do the right thing? Should you seek out justice? Should you try to accomplish a lot of what God's word would say we should be burdened with as Christians, to really to do the right thing for the sake of his glory, but to really carry that out. So I think it would be good to try, you know what I mean? To try to do what you can to make it right with somebody if there is a relational strain that you've contributed to.
How far back do you go? Like, say it's somebody who says, man, my final year of college, I cheated on a couple of exams. It's always kind of bothered me, but I've thought, I've become a Christian now.
Sure.
So I'm forgiven, and I'm just going to let that carry the day. Or do you call the institution up and say, hey, when I was a student there, I cheated on these exams? I mean, do you go back that if you've been out of college for 15 years, you've been out of college for 20 years, whatever?
I think it's hard to say. I mean, the answer I'm inclined to give, which might feel like a non-answer, is I think it would be a lot of a conscience issue. I mean, to what extent are you burdened by it? I do think that there is some freedom. I mean, there is a freedom that comes along with forgiveness. So, I mean, within reason, probably, like if there's 15 years removed from a degree and some instances where you did the wrong thing, I don't know that would necessitate really, like, I got to go and try to get the registrar to do something. I don't know even how you would go about that. So I think it would probably be just some kind of discerning combination of wisdom and conscience and kind of where that puts you. My gut reaction is if it's, you don't want to say if it's easy, but I mean if it's something that you can make right, and it's something that seems like, I could do that, I think we should try to. I don't know if that.
Yeah. See if this helps. Okay. I know a guy who's a Christian counselor, biblical counselor, was meeting with this lady. She struggled immensely with guilt. Finally, one of the major items she had been holding on to for forever really was pretty significant. She had, maybe 15 years ago, something of this nature. It's been a while. Had committed check fraud. So back when people still used checks.
Yeah.
She had committed check fraud, and she had worked it in such a way that she never got in trouble for the check fraud, but she just quickly closed out some accounts and moved away from the area. And so she really had kind of pulled it off, so to speak. So now she feels bad about it, but thinks if I admit it, I go to jail.
Sure.
So she's talking to this counselor. He was saying, I would call the bank.
Yeah.
And tell them what has happened, and also ask God for mercy.
Yeah.
And so that's actually what she chose ultimately to do, was call the bank, admit the wrong, ask God, praying, God, please be merciful to me. And the bank said, the bank manager kind of chuckled, and he's like, it's a great admission or whatever. But there's no way for us at this point to go back and identify those records.
Right.
And so she was very much shown mercy.
Yeah.
Didn't have to go to jail. But it was a big stepping stone, freeing her of the guilt.
Yeah.
Doing the horizontal and the vertical.
I think that is a really good example. And just makes me think, I think the other thing that you would consider, which I think a lot of these shades of gray are trying to figure out, like, what would be the right thing to do in a particular situation. Kind of the egregiousness of the offense is probably going to weigh in on a little bit as to how, even if it's been 10 or 15 years, should you really kind of go through the lengths to bring it up or kind of confess what you did or seek some sort of restoration with someone or something. Probably factor that in as well. You know what I mean? Fraud is at that level is probably a little bit different than I cheated on a quiz in college to a certain degree. If you murdered somebody and you got away with it, probably want to say something. It's a little bit different, you know.
Okay, yeah. That was very helpful, real insightful.
I'm not making light of murder.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I do
yeah.
think if you've committed it and you got away with it,
You should acknowledge it. That's
you should
good.
acknowledge it. Yes.
I'm tempted to just cut it there. No,
Please don't.
So if the idea is we are forgiven.
Yeah.
What we've done, we've confessed that there's no condemnation. We actually are going to spend eternity with God, as the passage references, like a watchman waiting for the morning, even more than a watchman for the morning, which I have thought about that at that point in time. The times I've had to stay up for some reason, or I've had just a long, especially somehow at night, it seems worse. I think because you don't have the sense of like what part of the day we're in.
Sure.
I'm always checking the phone. Like, man, it feels like I just woke up. Morning's never gonna come. I'm checking the time on my phone all the time. These guys don't have a watch. They're watchless watchmen.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, that would be painful to be sitting around in the dark, just wondering when morning's gonna come, and trying to entertain yourself with I don't know, sticks and sand or something at that point in time.
In the desert.
So I do think that would be. The sense is I'm watching for something that, man, is it ever going to come?
Yeah.
I think that's also exactly how a Christian might feel if they hear in the message you reference a common phrase that if you're not in a difficult situation now, you will be in one. You're about to be in one.
Yes, not a matter of if but when.
Yes, not a matter of if but when. Difficulty. So it almost sounds like with this watchman idea, man, life's going to be pretty horrible. But just be a watchman and keep looking for heaven. One day it'll all be over with.
Yeah.
Is that the primary takeaway?
No, I don't think that it's the disposition of like life's going to be horrible. I do think, I mean, even if you just reduced it down to, I mean, you've got an awesome life, but the people you love are going to die at some point. I mean, you're not going to be able to get away completely unscathed. If nothing else, the ultimate consequence of our sinfulness is we're all going to die. So I mean, we're going to have to go through the experience of losing our own life at some point. So I mean, and obviously there is a spectrum of difficulty in what a hard life looks like or what that means. I think it's more that it's not just saying, all right, well, just kind of pull yourself up by the bootstraps and just grin and bear it and until the morning comes. I think it is hopeful that the morning's coming though. So I think it's not just entirely just sit around and wait just hope it doesn't hurt too bad, you know. Or I mean, what comes to mind is even in thinking, is it John chapter 10 when Jesus says that he came to give abundant life?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I think even to think, I mean, this idea of abundance and flourishing and goodness and joy, I mean, these are all things that the Christian should also anticipate and seek out in life. So it's definitely not just sitting on your hands and just trying to endure as best you can until the morning. But it is also saying when difficulty comes, you can look and know just as sure as the sun's going to come up that we've got this inheritance, we've got this hope of heaven, that is more than hopeful.
Yeah. I think that is good. I think even when Jesus talks about the rich man with the needle and Peter's like, yeah, but what about us who've given up everything? Right? Is it just going to be horrible until heaven?
Yeah.
And he says, no, expect to receive in this life 10-fold, 20-fold, 100-fold.
Yeah.
And everlasting life. And so it's a combination that God will provide for you here
Absolutely.
And now. And I think very similar to what you were saying with abundant life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would be a real similar idea. Well, thank you, brother. I think it was
Absolutely.
Good to discuss the passage.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the questions, and we hope it was helpful to you all listening. We will be back here just as quick as we can, probably in like a week. So we'll see you here next time on Hash It Out.